The Box Seat, brought to you by our stable of sponsors. Hi everyone, welcome to your Waitangi Day edition of your Box Seat. Yes, happy New Zealand Day to you. Michael Guerin joins us for the first time in 2024 off the back of a stunning night out of Melton. So much to talk about. Michael, as I say hi to you.
Hi Greg, big happy Waitangi Day to everybody around our wonderful country. It's a privilege to be a Kiwi, isn't it? And it's a privilege to be involved in harness racing this time of the year. As Greg mentioned, Hunter Cup last Saturday, and maybe even more importantly, the Great Southern Star. Back to Group 1s at Addington coming up this Friday. We sneak in a bit of Merlin versus Self-Assured for the first time, Gregory. And those sales are getting ever closer. And I thought there was enough at the top end of the Melbourne sale to suggest we're going to see multiple six-figure lots at Karaka and heading to Christchurch over the next 2 weeks, Greg. There are a lot of balls in the air for the harness racing community, Greg, and a lot of them, I think, are going to land at Cambridge on April the 12th. That was the vibe on the ground at Melton. We are in for a barn burner for the Night of Champions there.
Yep, we certainly are. What about your rundown for your Box Seat? Brought to you by our stable of sponsors. It is Fahey Fence Eye Race Night and the Group 1 breeders with them. We'll preview a couple of races out of Auckland, including the one Michael just mentioned, Merlin versus Self-Assured. First winner for Seth Hill, joining the family tradition. Leap to Fame did take out the Hunter Cup, but a great run from Don't Stop Dreaming. Great Southern Star. We'll look at the heats and the final. What a race it was. Catch up with our man from Harness Link and the Brecon Draft. We'll have a look at some of their horses going through the sale. 35 they have in total. But let's get into the preview of Addington, one of only a couple of Group 1 races for the mares. It is the breeders. We go back 2 weeks to the Garrard's Premier Mares. And Michael, this was a stunning performance from All American Lover. She went back at the start, worked round to Sip Park outside Manhattan. Not normally a whole lot of fun, but she was simply too good.
It was an open class horse, Greg, racing below open class grade horses. But I've looked at this twice and I would suggest this is as good as any non-all-stars horse has gone at Addington for quite some time, obviously taking Swayze out from the New Zealand Cup. What this video doesn't show you is that she went back at the start. Tim Williams just could not get in. Everybody was getting in his way. Went all the way back to last, was trapped 3 wide, then worked forward and sat parked outside, close enough to open class horses, and beat them pretty easy. It was a absolutely unbelievable performance, Greg. And the only reason I can find to not back her in the breeders this week is either A, it took the edge off her, which is possible because it was so ginormous, or she doesn't perform to that level for another reason. Greg, if she performs to that level, she will win. But the question is, do either of those two things get in her way? Along, of course, with Manhattan and Lady of the Light. But the way she went there, Greg, as good as they are, and I know they're both leaders, they won't beat her if she reaches that level. I can't see how, and to be perfectly honest, I think the TRB's got the market wrong, which we'll look at shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll also hear from co-trainer Amanda Telfa. Interesting addition to the race is Mr. Kaplan, now with Mark and Nathan Purdon. Just wanted to show her most recent performance. Her big weapon, Michael, is her gate speed. Yes, she did get beaten on this occasion by 2IC, but she went very well and she should get across Life's a Beach at the start.
Yeah, she should. I think a lot of people will be thinking the same thing. Let's get to the fence as quick as we can here because Manhattan and Lady of the Light are both going to be aiming for the same spot up there in front. There could be a bit of early speed. Interesting to see how it all pans out because in a normal race like this, Greg, she was so good last start, All American Lover. You would think, well, they'll just let her roll to the front, but Manhattan might do that. Lady of the Light can't win doing that. She is just a big truck of a mare, and they'll be looking to put her on the front end. So whether she gets the respect she deserves, All American Lover, after that last start performance, I'm not sure. But The one thing I am sure about, Greg, is that she will start favourite. She didn't open favourite with the tab. She will start favourite.
We'll get to that market very shortly. Let's get to Amanda Telfa and hear not only about All-American Lover, but also Kalua Flyby. Amanda, Group 1 racing for the mares again, and wow, the barrier draws made it interesting.
It's made it very interesting, Greg. As you know, 5 horses off the front, drawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all got speed. So, yeah, it'll be quite interesting.
All right, you guys have got a two-pronged attack, so let's start with the Premier Mares winner, All-American Lover. That was a hell of a staying performance.
Yeah, look, it was. We didn't know quite where she was at leading into that race. Like, she trolled nice, but we weren't 100% sure. I told Timmy to go back, but he didn't. Well, he did, but then decided to go forward. Yeah, look, it was a good effort, like a tough effort, yeah.
How she bounced through that, and are we thinking that she's in Group 1 winning form, the sort of form that she's shown before, because she's a Queen of Hearts winner?
Yeah, look, we are. She actually had her last hit out this morning. She'll just have a nice quiet one on Wednesday, and I just got the perfect from Tim. So, yeah, no, she worked great.
What's the ultimate race field position for her? Would it be best if she was in front, but with Lady of the Light drawn to her inside? That's unlikely.
Yeah, no, look, she doesn't have to race in front, Greg. If she does go forward and she gets a breeze, like if he just sits there, she's still a great stayer, so she'll try her all.
Kalua Flyby, big flashing light on Johnny Cox's helmet last time because she was outstanding late.
Yeah, she was. We had to drive her for a bit of luck last time, and it was Johnny's first race day drive on her. So he'd driven her at home and had the feel of her, but yeah, she hit the line very strong.
How's she come through that, and following through all of that speed in front of her actually might work out pretty well?
Yeah, look, it will. She's a high speed horse, so she's actually better driven with a fit, and with them doing a bit of work up front, I'd say that she'll be a big danger.
Do you still favour All-American Lover because she's got the Group 1 runs on the board over her, or will it be run dependent?
It'll be run dependent, I think. Kalua, like I said, she's just got a huge turn of speed at the end of the races, and when she's saved up for it, she does hit the line hard, and she's actually bounced through the runs really, really good, working good. And but yeah, All-American Lover is a Group 1 winner, so it's hard to say.
What I do know is they've got 2 great chances. A couple of things to clarify for you there, Michael. $2.80, Lady of the Light, $3. It was, as we have a look at the market for the Fahey Fence Hire Breeders' Stakes. Life's a Beach, 15s, Mr Kaplan, 18s. Manhattan, I spoke to Bob Butt about $6.50. He said, look, I'm just going to have to find the running line and hope they go really hard. Can't see me getting across those inside 4. You may have heard, well, it sounded like birds in the background, Michael. That's the new barn for Stonewall in Whedon's or Rolleston, whichever way you want to go there. That's a bird scarer. So I don't know what it was. It went on during the interview. There's nothing they haven't got there. So it keeps all the birds away. The horses look so relaxed in there. And we will do a full story about that new setup because it's quite impressive.
So like a modern day scarecrow.
Well, it is, and there's no birds anywhere. They're nowhere to be seen. So yeah, it was amazing. Gee, it made a racket.
It might help them get a Group 1 on Friday. It's very annoying, but it might help them get a Group 1. And I absolutely can find no reason to bet against this horse. As I said, I don't say this lightly, but it is as good a pacing performance as a non-All-Stars horse will take Swayze out of the Cup has produced at Addington in 2 years. If you haven't seen the whole race, hrnz.co.nz, just go back and watch it. If it turns up like that, Greg, it'll win. It's so much better than those horses on that run. Lady of the Light, I think the best version of her is up against the marker peg. So that's the one reason you would hope for improvement. But if you had only ever seen those 2 horses in one race in their life, there's absolutely no way you could back Lady of the Light to beat All-American Lover this week. Not saying it can't happen, but based on last start, it can't.
No, I totally agree with that. I think she'll be winning, and I'm with you. I think she'll start favourite as well. This horse will definitely start favourite. Oscar Bonavina, 5 straight. Natalie Rasmussen, how cool to have her back in the bike, beating Smoke and Bandar. We've seen this story before, Michael. Plug's still in. He's just in a different zone at the moment.
I spoke to Natalie after the race, Greg, and she said to me, this is the horse we hoped he would be. And I think we is just about all of us. Back when he was 4, we thought he could be a potential great because he was so fast. And I gave up on him 2 years ago, Greg. I think he went out to Regan Todd's at some stage. And he just wasn't winning out there. And it was just like, what a waste of time this is. This horse is stuffed. That's exactly what I thought. And he's won us all back over. I'm not sure if it's maturity. I'm not sure if just whether all those little niggles and aches and pains have gone away. But I was at Melton on Saturday night, and I'm not sure the 2 horses we'll see later who finished first and second there would sit parked outside that version of Oscar Bonavina and beat him. Now that'll get everybody in Australia up in arms, because at the moment we think those 2 are great horses and maybe champions, and maybe they are. But there's only so fast you can go. And Oscar just goes really fast at the moment. Now, he'll win this week, unless something bizarre happens. We all know that. He's $1.10, so running through your multis, you get 10% more money. E.g., All-American Lover becomes $3.30. What's interesting, Greg, and I suppose that doubt that you have in your mind after the last couple of years, is will that version turn up on April the 12th for the TRB Trot Slot Race? And we don't know, because he's let us down before and his body's let him down before, you always go, oh, can I trust him? But he just seems more trustworthy every time I see him. Yes, he's beating horses who are by no means in the top Group 1 echelon that we saw of the top 2 in the Great Southern Star. But there's also a pretty decent gap, Greg, back to the next bunch of horses in Aussie. So we'll talk about them more later. But I'll put it to you this way. Even barrier draws, but him, Muscle Mountain, Bolt for Brilliance at 2, 3 and 4. Who would you back out of the New Zealanders in the TRB Trot?
I still think Muscle Mountain. I still think he is the top of the pops, but Oscar's speed gets him right into anything, any sort of race. So yeah, I'll go with Muscle Mountain, but he needs to be at his peak. He needs to be at his absolute best.
I agree, and bizarrely, they've swapped spots. 6 months ago, well, probably 12 months ago, Muscle Mountain was absolutely bulletproof, but also like you could trust him. You knew what version was coming to the races, and it's not his fault. He had atrial fibrillation, but there's enough little niggles there. He's got a big body, and they have to look after him. That you're less certain he's going to turn up to the races at 100 at the moment than Oscar. So that whole process, and then of course Bolt for Brilliance has had the entrapped epiglottis operation, but that just lays at the top of it off. It's not that serious, but he's had that. So all of a sudden, those 2 horses had the question marks over them, and Oscar
doesn't.
Well, he was an equine question mark. I hated backing him, and at the moment, he's about to go at $1.10 in a feature race, and it seems overs.
Yeah, it really does. Looking forward to seeing him again Friday night, as I am this horse, Heisenberg. This video is as much about how Heisenberg might go in the first race on Friday night, but you spotted it, the Falcon returning to winning form. He hadn't won in a year, Michael, so there's a couple of things to look at here, and Hey Bartender was much better.
He was. I think it'll be a decent form race heading forward for this grade, but good on the Dunn team and Gerard O'Reilly. They didn't lose faith in the Falcon. They drove him completely differently, and poor old Heisenberg, he's always the workhorse, and there's usually one who can knock him off, Gregory. But yeah, I was really stoked to see the Falcon back for the Dunn boys. I think he's a pretty good horse, and I think he's a pretty good addition to the open class-ish ranks, those sort of ranks that race is in. I think the Falcon's probably better than most of those, and with our open class New Zealand Cup type ranks, Greg, going through a really strong transition phase, he'll slot into a decent race somewhere.
Yep, absolutely he will. He's a former Country Cups winner, of course, and he's pretty genuine when he's feeling right. So Heisenberg's in the first of 9 out of Addington. Big night on Friday night because we go to Alexandra Park, and this little guy, Merlin, well, he's not so little these days, Michael, and he didn't win by much, beating Sooner the Better here, but he takes on a genuine genuine free-for-all horse, a $2 million order winner in Self-Assured. So it's going to be a good race this week.
First things first, well done to Harness Racing New Zealand and the Auckland Trotting Club and whoever made the decision to hold this race, because the other three horses obviously can't compete, but you need to give these good horses a chance to race. And Merlin versus Self-Assured will make me a lot more interested in Alexandra Park than I would have been. I think Merlin will beat him. I think Self-Assured is a different horse in Auckland in the autumn. I think he'll reach closer to his original peaks, but I do think Merlin inside him will go forward and get the lead, and that may well be the end of it. So he then, Greg, will head to Sydney. So the heats or the preludes of the Chariots of Fire, which goes back to March the 2nd, start this week. So Don't Stop Dreaming will be versus Sooner the Better, who ran second in that video. So Don't Stop Dreaming turning around really quickly after racing in the Hunter Cup, which again we'll see shortly. So that's a bit of a surprise, but I think Mark Purden's done that to stay away from Merlin. I think Merlin will win this. I think Self-Assured will go close enough to run him close. And then the interesting part is how many of these races, Greg, we can get off the ground heading forward, because Merlin's gone. After this one, he's off to Sydney, where Sooner the Better already is. That gets you down to 4. So my concern for the next month in Auckland is how we get these races off the ground.
Yep, it certainly is a big challenge, and one that we've been trying to address for quite some time. Trotters are going well though, including this trotter, Faith in Manchester. It's a good race this week, Michael. Handicap trot off the front is Faith in Manchester. Melzadel, who ran second in this, of course placed at Group 1 level in Australia. American Muscle, and off the back Sunny Sister. That's her wide out. She missed away, and it's incredibly hard to make ground at Cambridge, as we know. She still went pretty well, but it'll be interesting over the 2,200 metres if she can make up that 25 metre gap. She's back there with all cashed up. That's an excellent race. And then you've got the likes of Cold Chisel, Vesem, Chase a Dream going around in race 7. It's just an excellent night at Alexandra Park on Friday night. Certainly a couch night for many harness followers. It's going to be a terrific one, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to ring someone from the All-Stars to get to the bottom of the Vesem, Chase a Dream, all that sort of stuff. And that'll be on hrnz.co.nz on Friday morning. We'll try and give you as much input as we can to that once they've got here settled in and worked, because not only them but Self-Assured and a whole bunch of other horses are going to determine how you bet. So yeah, stick with the website on Friday morning, those previews, and the Herald of course. Those previews will be in there, and we'll try and give you the best advice we can. And I hope, Greg, that someone from Trackside's on track. I'd love them to be, because it's a really good meeting. Of course, it leads into the following week, which is the Harness Millions meeting, which is the reason we've got so much good racing here this week.
Yep, absolutely. The NZB Harness Millions. While we're on the ATC, an announcement coming out this week. Here's the details for you, Michael. $1 million race night. Horses will earn points at every race meeting at the park over 2024. You see the point system there, 5 for a win, down to 1 point for every time you start. I think you have to start half a dozen times. The highest points earners will race for that $1 million prize money split into 10 races worth $100,000. All the details at alexandrapark.co.nz, and we'll have a piece with Jamie McKinnon next week just explaining the mindset around this. It is to attract more horses to Alexandra Park. It's $100 that you have to pay at the start, Michael. Look, they're trying something. They're having a go here. You've got to applaud them for that. How many horses out of the South Island? It'll be really interesting, but I know what you're going to say. Just pay your $100. Why wouldn't you pay your $100? Give yourself the chance.
Oh, Gregory, seriously. I have these conversations with people all the time, and I feel like getting a toy mallet out and bashing them on the noggin when I do it. It's $100. I get $100 bills for stuff I've never even heard of from people when I've got horses. And that's not just me. Every single person watching this, we're all in this together. Just pay it. Now here's why you pay it, because if you're sitting there in October and your horse is racing well, and it's had its 6 starts at Alexandra Park, you can race for 100k. If you're sitting there in July and you don't want to go to Addington and it's freezing cold, you put your horse on the truck, send it to Jeremy Young or Logan Hollis, Barry Purd, goes around 4 or 5 times, you watch it at home, it's nice and warm, go around for good stakes, small fields, easier to win a race in the South Island, and you go around for 100k. By paying, here's the other thing. Say you've got a nice enough horse. I tried to buy a trotter down south recently. Now, say you've got that horse, the same horse I tried to buy. It's worth more in my mind if it's eligible for that series. I pay an extra $10,000 for it. You put $100 down. It's not paying up for the Breeders' Crown. You pay up for the Breeders' Crown. You try and sell a horse to Victoria, it's worth more. So not everybody's going to do this. People who have a horse in Gore, or if you've got one in Nelson and you think to yourself, well, am I really going to go to Auckland? Of course, ignore this conversation. But if you have a horse which you think may well fit into there, and there's all types, 2, 3-year-olds, anything you can think of is going to be eligible for this, and you think you might be interested in sending it north, just get on the ATC website, pay the $100, forget about it. It's not even a set of shoes. And then give yourself a chance to race for 100K, or give yourself a chance to sell your horse to someone who wants to race for 100K. It's such a no-brainer, Gregory, if your horse is even remotely in that possible realm of horses who could go, that you just do it. Because I would defy most people who are watching this show to tell me what their last training bill was and what all the things on it were for. And most horses these days are owned by an average of between 4 and 6 people.
Yep.
It's $16 per person.
Yep. No brainer. More about it next week with Jamie McKinnon, but good on them for having a crack in that regard. Still to come on the show, we're going to review the Hunter Cup, the Great Southern Star. We'll catch up with Steve Wolf from Harness Link. But as we go to our first break, let's hear from a young man getting his first win. It's always pretty special. It's even more special that we get the chance to catch up with him. First winning drive, congratulations, Seth. Must have been a huge thrill.
Yeah, Greg, it was pretty cool. It was real cool.
Tell me what the experience was like. Was at Cromwell, of course. You're in front on Falcon's watch for Robin Wilson, and at halfway down you probably thought, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to hold on here, and then the one outside you, I think it was Huru, galloped and left you clear, so you sort of knew a wee way out that it was going to happen.
Yeah, well, she was sort of tackling a couple of rough ones, and it was pretty surreal. But I probably didn't think, of course, she probably had me at the time, and then obviously I looked over and saw no one else was coming. So it was pretty cool.
All right, you've already driven your second winner at Ashburton, so things are going well for you. Tell us, was it always going to be harness racing? Was it always going to be driving them?
Yeah, no, it was always going to be harness racing. Dad never pushed it on us, but I think Max and I just loved it so much and always been around it. It was always going to happen, and we started the trials and just keep enjoying it, and still enjoying it now, so I can't see us going anywhere soon.
Yeah, well, you're working for Dad. Now, he's not around. What's he like to work for? Is he a decent boss?
Nah, he's all good. He's real good. We get along pretty well, probably, but him and I probably get along better than Max and him did, to be honest, but now we get along well, and, it's good. We get work, and if we get down early, we can go hit a golf, and, you get that sort of stuff, and you can't beat it, so, it's good.
Tell me about some of the, I suppose, idols that are associated with the stable. One stands out, bloke with the gold cap.
Yeah.
Bit of advice from him, wouldn't go astray. I'm sure you've gleaned plenty out of Ricky May.
Yeah, no, he helps me a lot. He's always good, Ricky says how it is, and that's all you want, really. So it's really good having Ricky around, and obviously Dad helps, and there's a lot of, all the senior drivers help, like Blair, Johnny, everyone helps you. So that's what you got to take, what you can. That's what we do. So.
All right, you got any goals? What would you like to achieve? Let's start with this year. Brother Max is on about 18 or 19. I suppose chasing him down would be a good start.
Yeah, well, it might sound a bit big. I'd probably like to drive 10 or 15 winners this year and push for the junior champs. So I know that's a big goal for your first season, but like with having Sarah and Ben and obviously Jim Cornell's away, I think I would go close, If not, so I don't know, I think that's a reasonable goal.
Yep, I think it's worth having a crack at.
Anyway,
yep.
See what happens, so.
Well, congratulations on grabbing that first win. It's always going to be a special one, and we wish you well in the future.
Yeah, cheers, thanks, Greg.
Welcome back into your box seat. Yes, brought to you by our stable of sponsors. One of those, Garrards. Let's go with them across the ditch. Let's go to the big one. It was the AG Hunter Cup. Here is Leap to Fame in front. You're looking for the Kiwi, though, in the famous Purdon colours. Mark Purdon, that is. Don't Stop Dreaming. Right about here, he puts in a bit of a rough stride, Michael, but he balances up and whilst Leap to Fame, and we'll talk plenty about him, was really good. I thought Don't Stop Dreaming was outstanding.
Yeah, it was an arrival race for him, Greg. He's arrived in open class. He had in our minds here on New Year's Eve at Alexandra Park, but he was beaten fair and square by Peter Eclipse last week. This was a new peak for him. Really good performance when you consider a lot of the good horses in Australia were there. Maybe not so much the Sydney siders, but look at him here taking ground off the best horse in Australasia. So if he continues improving, he's going to be awfully hard to beat in the Chariots of Fire, and maybe he's closer to these good horses than I thought anyway. Leap to Fame's just a race and repeat horse. He just turns up, Greg. You saw him in Queensland. He's very sound. He loves being out there. I half think he sort of waits for them a little bit these days. He has at Albion Park a bit, I think, in the lead-up races, because he knows he's got them covered. But it's his grand circuit to lose. The next big one for him, he heads to Cranbourne this Saturday. Then he heads to the Newcastle Mile, so they'll be pretty excited to see him in Newcastle. The Miracle Mile will be different. I don't think he can lead a Miracle Mile. His big wins come when he leads. And I don't think he can lead a Miracle Mile, and therefore it becomes the biggest challenge for him. I spoke to Grant Dixon at length yesterday. He admitted that. Miracle Mile is our toughest challenge. He's clearly capable of a 1:48 or quicker, but whether he has to do that outside the leader, Greg, is interesting. So that Miracle Mile a week later this year on March the 9th, he is clear top pick. Merlin and Don't Stop Dreaming will hopefully make it to the Chariots of Fire, potentially alongside Sooner the Better. And the winner, and maybe the second horse out of the Chariots of Fire, would go forward, Greg. That's also a week later. It's March the 2nd. So a little bit of a later carnival there. But
haven't we seen this dance card before, though, Michael? Isn't this Leap to Fame almost a replica of Lazarus? I'm not saying he is Lazarus, but the Miracle Mile was never going to be his race because he can't just blast the gate and lead.
I've been calling on that for 18 months, Greg.
Yep.
Lazarus light. And don't worry, he's getting to Lazarus heavy. He isn't there yet, but he's getting there. But yes, a Bettor's Delight, not a huge horse, strong horse, maybe doesn't have the gate speed. One thing I would say is Lazarus raced in a better era.
Yep.
This isn't a great era for harness racing, for pacing. There's some good horses there, but there's not many great horses around. Like Lazarus had to race Lenny the Shark in a Miracle Mile. But yes, it's not perfectly set up for him, in saying that this horse may have a little bit more respect, and the horses who are likely to lead the Miracle Mile, like Hi, My Name is Jeff, they're not strong enough to hold him off. So it's going to be really interesting. Not many horses have won in the modern era, the Miracle Mile, the Inter-Dominion and the Hunter Cup in the same year. So yeah, heading there will be really interesting for him. We could well have one or two Kiwis in the race against him, and I think we'll need them, Greg, because what I saw on both the open class trot and the open class pace the other day was an example, taking Swayze out of play because he wasn't there, that there's no great depth over there in open class. Now, Rock and Roll Do's back this week. He goes to Menangle. That'll add some more depth, but again, his body's been betraying him. Better Eclipse is a good horse. So there's enough there, and there's virtually no depth here. So unlike Lazarus, who had to race Smolder and Tiger Tara and a whole bunch of good horses, Leap to Fame has the ability to clean sweep these races, Greg. Whether he has the gate speed's the other question. Brings us to the race by grins. All things being equal, he'll be coming to the race by grins. Kevin Seymour apparently is negotiating with a couple of different slot holders, and I think he'll get pretty good terms. So he's automatically the favourite for the race by grins. There's no doubts about that. He is just the favourite for everything he wants to start in. And Greg, I think him coming to the race by grins not only makes that night, but I think they want to come to the New Zealand Cup. And that would be huge for Addington, because Swayze was good last year, but Swayze doesn't carry anywhere the amount of eyeballs that Leap to Fame would now, and even more so potentially could by the time the New Zealand Cup comes around. And of course he could be there as well. So Leap to Fame's become the most important horse, Greg, I believe, on both sides of the Tasman.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So he's $1.80 to win the race by Grins, and now Don't Stop Dreaming $3. Michael, I've just got a text message through right now from Dave Branch from Cambridge confirming that SENZ slot will be taken by Merlin. So that deal has been done, and he will definitely be in the race Merlin. So that's hot off the press.
That surprises me.
There you go. That doesn't happen very often, Michael.
Well,
I don't often surprise you.
The reason it surprises me, Greg, is I thought he would go into the, I don't even know what we call it anymore. Want to hear a funny story, viewers?
Yes.
I'll tell you a funny story. A couple of years ago, when they started this whole race by Grins thing, Ladbrokes signed up for a slot. And Gregor and I weren't allowed to call them Ladbrokes because they were part of Ladbrokes. And now Ladbrokes and Entade own the TAB. So now we can call them whatever they want, I suppose. But we were warned off and told they would take the show off air if they called it Ladbrokes. And we got this big legal letter. And I was like, this is the most ridiculous rubbish I've heard in my life. Ironically, it was called Aussie Lads, which was just farcical. Anyway, those people now run the TAB and they're paying for the studio I'm sitting in. But that's another story. But Dean Shannon obviously runs Entade, and the Ladbrokes deal was done by him. So they must have signed another horse group.
Apparently, they signed it. Him and Hutchie signed it on Karaka Millions night.
So what happens is Merlin goes into that slot.
Yep.
And the Aussie Lads slot must have been taken by another horse.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I'm not
Well
too sure
played by
what that
Dean
is.
Shannon.
You actually mentioned Rock and Roll Do. They're really keen to come as well. So this night's
Yeah. Do you remember that?
I remember.
I remember having that conversation.
I remember. I thought we were going off air, Michael. So I thought, how can I control you? I've got no chance of controlling this.
It was seriously, punters. You have no idea some of the wild stuff that's happened with all the stuff over the last couple of years. Long story short, we're all going to be at Cambridge on April the 12th.
Yep, absolutely. And what a field it will be, and what a field it will be for the new Tab Trot as well. So let's have a look at the Great Southern Star, because the heats, and here's the first heat. Call Me the Breeze. Couldn't have gone any better, Michael, in the first heat, and we'll get to the final shortly, but he has arrived.
Big, strong French boy, reminiscent of some of the wonderful French trotters of the past, and Anton Galino's doing a great job training him, but Nathan Jack's doing a great job driving him. They put the overcheck on, completely changed him. Start before, head down, mucking around, didn't look interested because he's an older bull. Put the overcheck on and he was like, oh, beautiful, let's do it.
Here's Just Believe, doing what Just Believe does, Michael. Slightly slower than the first heat, very quick last half, better than 55. And yeah, he's just a brilliant racehorse. It was great to see him beating RC Phoenix here, and he did it quite nicely. Probably not as nicely as Call Me the Breeze, but the most important thing was barrier draws. He ended up getting the last draw, which was the outside of the front row. Couple of draws earlier, the eventual winner Call Me the Breeze, and a smart move. Nathan Jack, he went for barrier 10.
He did, and he settled 3 back on the outside, and there was Just Believe outside the leader again, where he always is, brave and stretching and wanting, but the other horses came over top of him. So a lot to digest here. First of all, Call Me the Breeze. Tactically brilliant by Nathan Jack. Outstanding. Secondly, they took the shoes off Greg. Based on no shoes in the final, as they will sometimes do in Scandinavia. They reckon that makes them lighter and they grip the track better and more natural for the horse. And Nathan got that inch perfect. It was outstanding. So he almost certainly will come to the trot slot race, the TAB Trot it's actually called, because Pat Driscoll, who purchased him from France, owns his own slot, Yabidam Farms. So he'll be coming. I would suggest, as long as he holds together. He has a trot race there in 2 weeks at Melton. Then he has what's called the Hammerhead at Menangle on Miracle Mile night. Now, he's a very good horse, and that overcheck up really changed him. He is an older stallion. It's funny, when you look at him, you go, oh, wow, he must be by some amazing French stallion. He's actually by Trixton, who's had a whole bunch of horses in this part of the world, and most of them were no good. So really bizarre to think that the different type of breeding on the dam side has bought you that horse, who was a very, very good horse racing in France. And the reason he was able to be purchased for down here was the quarantine to go from France to America is so strict, it was just a lot easier to sell him down here. So welcome to open class trotting for him. Because what it does show is that Just Believe is a superstar, wonderful horse. I love him. The Sugars team, the Sugars Tubbs team, one of my favourite teams in harness racing. I think they act the way harness racing people should act. But also, outside Bolt for Brilliance in the Inter-Dominions about 15 months ago, I don't think the horses Just Believe's been beating are that good. They're good, Mufasa Metro and Queen Elida, but they're not stars. And for Just Believe to continue to be the dominant trotter or the best trotter in Australasia, Greg, he's going to need to go to at least another level, because he's got this horse on his back over there, and I would suggest there's nobody sitting parked outside him to beat him. And waiting over here, he's got Oscar and Muscle Mountain and Bolt for Brilliance. That's not insulting Just Believe. He's done a wonderful job in Sweden and did a really good job up there. And he's been totally dominant over what's been a muddling crop in Australia. He did beat Bolt for Brilliance fair and square in the Inter-Dominions. But to come over here and beat all those horses, because the horse in front of him, the horse behind the leader and the horse behind him, if he's sitting parked, are all going to be horses of relatively comparable ability. And that's going to be fun. That's what we should have. That's what we deserve to have. It's an open class race, potentially the TRB trot, with him, Call Me the Breeze, Oscar Bonavina, obviously Muscle Mountain, Bolt for Brilliance we think is coming back after that operation, maybe Elder Baron Zeus, maybe, and a couple more who are in for a hell of a night at the office, Greg. And that, in my mind, would be the best trotting race in this part of the world since 1997's Inter-Dominion final at a Globe Derby. It's a truly great race, and hopefully the majority of those horses might stick around through the Rowe Cup. I'm not sure they will. There's a bit of talk that he might be heading back to Sweden. Just Believe, I absolutely wouldn't take him there. Had this conversation with Harness Australia bosses on Friday night, and they were saying you would go. I said I wouldn't go. No. Because he can stay here and win a whole bunch of money, and he might win a big race in Sweden.
And he's been secured by the Cambridge Club, of course, for the Tab Trot. So $1.90.
I would leave him here, Greg, for the Rowe Cup. I would leave him here and let him win a whole bunch of money, because he just seems to want to turn up and race and be a good horse.
He's so genuine. Yeah.
I think Better Eclipse will come. I think a stablemate will come for the race by Grin. Someone must be signing him, surely. And that gives him a chance to campaign both horses over here in an environment they know, without going all the way to Sweden, and keep them together, because Jess and Greg are a team, and if you lose Greg for 2 months, it's bloody hard to replace him in this part of the world.
So $1.90 him, $3.40 Call Me the Breeze, Muscle Mountain $4.60, Oscar $5.50. So that's the market for the Tab Trot. Here is the Bonanza, and Frankie Ferocious. You're looking for the horse getting back from 3 back on the fence, gets to the outside. 150, 1.6 they went here. Michael, he's arrived, that's for sure, and goes straight into the chariots now.
He does, now with Jason Grimson, and of course that means you get Cam Hart, and Cam Hart's just... well, he might be the best driver in Australasia at the moment. He might be. If he's not, he's close. He's
pretty good. He's very good, and he's beaten Perfect Class and Captain's Knock here. Another winner on the night, Michael, was the remarkable 888. He took out the Pure Steel. And the reason I'm mentioning him, well, he's been a good horse, but he is by American Ideal, who we lost recently. The sire, I think it was over $160 million worth of stakes in North America. Obviously the sire of the dual New Zealand Cup winner, and Copy That, and a whole lot of other really good horses, and All-American Lover can grab another Group 1 for the now deceased horse that has done an amazing job, American Ideal.
Wasn't he a super horse? Probably more loved in Australia than he was here, because they raced so well over there. But yeah, he did a super job for Woodlands. So yeah, very sad to hear of his passing. Just on 888, Father Brian Glasheen, the pacing priest, he wasn't there. Had a night off. I think it was crook. So Brian, if you are, I hope you get better soon, because we all love seeing you get a win with 888, Greg. Yeah, looking forward to seeing how this open class crop pans out for both the pacers and the trotters. But it's an exciting time, and we'll keep you updated here on the box seat, because it feels at the moment, Greg, there's a signing or a big race every week.
Yeah, there is an announcement all the time, or each and every week, as you mentioned. Got a chance in the last couple of weeks to catch up with Steve Wolf. He's been in the harness media for 4 or 5 decades. He's Harness Link's #1 man for Europe and North America and all of those parts. So had a chat to him about all things, including Cardigan Bay, bought some memorabilia with him, and how big an impact Dexter Dunn has had since arriving over there. Steve, with your background in harness racing, what the heck would bring you down under at this stage?
You know, I've been in the sport for going on almost 50 years now, and I've seen many, many of the great horses, but one of them who I missed and I could just see in videos and stuff was Cardigan Bay. And fortunately, as a youngster getting into the sport, I was able to meet the great Stanley Dancer. And we became very good friends, believe it or not. My grandfather and his father used to buy and sell cattle. So when I first met Stanley and he asked me some questions, are you so-and-so's son or so-and-so's grandson? We became instant friends. And he would tell me the stories about Cardigan Bay, how he went down under and saw him, how he brought him here to America. And it was unbelievable. And over the years, as Stanley got older, he started to give away a lot of his items that he had. And he knew how much I was interested with Cardigan Bay. And the next thing you know, I was helping him when he was moving to Florida, and he said, Steve, I want you to hold on to these. And he gave me the back shoes from Cardigan Bay when he went over the $1 million mark at Freehold Raceway, 1968. And then from his groom, I received some scrapbooks and learned more and more about him. In fact, I even also have his halter. And I've brought all that back here because one of my dreams was to be able to come here to New Zealand, to visit the racetracks, to see the country, sort of bring back Cardi's shoes where they maybe belong a little more than in America and in my house. I'm also going to be going to Australia and visiting there, and it's a dream trip of a lifetime.
He, without doubt, has been our greatest export, and obviously he was on the Ed Sullivan show, and he was the first standardbred to go past $1 million. But we've recently sent you another one, Dexter Dunn. Tell me about what impact he's had, not only on yourself, but on the North American scene. Because from here, Steve, it's very impressionable, isn't it?
It's very, and to be honest, it started a year before Dexter came to America. I had gone to Ireland. I was covering the Vincent Delaney Memorial in Dublin, and lo and behold, here comes Cran Dalgetty with Dexter Dunn, and Dexter had just won the previous year the World Driving Championship, but he was still an unknown. And that first day in Dublin, he only had a couple drives, but he impressed the people so much that the next day, I think he had a drive in every race. And he just blew me away. I mean, his ability. He came off, he actually warmed up a horse, a trotter, and the guy said it's pretty frisky and you got to watch with her. He came off the bike and told me, guys, I'm going to set a track record with this mare. And sure enough, he did. And fortunately, we went to see the bookies and made a little bit on him that way. But then within a year or so, and we told Dexter at this time what a place this could be. Even George Brennan, one of the greatest drivers in America, was there that year and told Dexter flat out one night, and we were having some drinks, and told him flat out, he says, you want to make money, you want to have the most excitement in your life, you come to America. And eventually Dexter did, and he took the country by storm.
Now, you've been a big part of the Riders Association across that 40 or 50 years you talked about. He's been a multiple winner of the Riders Association Driver of the Year. He is right up there with your Gingras and the great names of the sport, isn't he?
Yes, yes. And fortunately, he had some people like Chris Ryder, a Kelvin Harrison, fellow countrymen, who gave him an opportunity. But as soon as he did, and I know I wrote stories telling people to watch out. I mean, this young man can drive. And as soon as that happened, the next thing you know, he's driving some of the best horses in the nation. And in my years, I've really never seen someone other than a Hervé Filion or a Yannick Gingras, Daniel Dubé, who came from Canada and stuff. No one from Europe, no one from down under came here to make an impact. To win Driver of the Year for 3 straight years is unbelievable, unheralded. And Dexter's pretty good about it. He smiles, he gives you an answer every now and then, and he just gets on the bike, whether he's driven the horse before or he's never driven the horse before. The horse is going to...
So do we, Steve, underestimate just the impact that he's had then, perhaps, down here?
Yes, yes, definitely. And, you know, I've been fortunate in my careers. I was there when Walter Case Jr. came out of Maine for the first time. And once you see someone drive and you can see how they're one with the horse, the expression that we have is he's eaten the stone dust quite a bit,
Right.
and it's gotten in the system and it's worked. But no, I've never seen anyone have as much impact as Dexter Dunn has on the racing world, harness racing.
And he's only just started. Let's be fair.
Yes.
He can be at that level for as long as he wants to be, essentially, because it sounds like he's been accepted in an unbelievable way.
Yes. Whether it's anywhere he's going to go in the United States, he's going to get first drive. And that's what it means. And of course, when you're one of the best drivers and you have one of the best horses, the wins are going to keep coming like they are, and for big stakes money. I'm just waiting. One of these years, he's going to win the Hamiltonian.
I know he's keen to do that. You're wearing a Harness Link hat, and you are essentially the biggest name writer that Harness Link have. Without Harness Link and the worldwide coverage that it gets, it is the one-stop shop for any harness racing fan, isn't it?
It is, and I can remember back in 2002, I had just gone to Pompano Park, and I got a message from a John Curtin asking me if I could send the stories to them for Harness Link. And once I saw the website and saw what he was doing, I became hooked. And after I left Pompano, I contacted John, and he hired me, and we're going on 11 years now of working together, and it's been super. And I love the writing, I love the promotions, I love being able to travel and cover races like I'm doing here. You know, a dream come true, and because of Harness Link, I've been to the Elite Lop, I've been to the Prix de Marique, I've been throughout Canada for racing, throughout the United States. It's all superb, and if it wasn't for Harness Link, I'd never have this opportunity. I wouldn't be here today.
I can tell, Steve, the passion's still there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. What about the horse we sent from here? And this was a rarity because with what Lazarus achieved in New Zealand at 2-3, and obviously his 2 New Zealand Cups into Dominions, not very often, or I can't think of one off the top of my head that has made its way to the States and performed to the level that he did. How important was that for the New Zealand export market?
Well, the market's always been there, but it's not been to the magnitude that Lazarus did. I mean, horses have come here, they've raced okay. I remember Christian Mee came over. He did okay in the beginning and then sort of tailed off, but he had a long, illustrious career, you know, down here and had done well. But Lazarus came here and boom! Next thing you know, what was it? Two starts in a world record. It's never happened before. Not with a down under horse, except for maybe Cardigan Bay, but he was more of a grinder, and you know, he would just win the races. Lazarus not only would win the races, but convincingly and setting records. It was amazing.
What about the future of the sport in the States? How positive are you that it's in a good space?
It depends where you are. I live in Florida, and I live 8 miles from what used to be Pompano Park. It's no longer there. And that's very sad because Florida was, Pompano Park was a winter wonderland, the winter capital of harness racing. But there are other states now, Kentucky probably the hottest state out there right now. Purses for sire stakes, for racing there, for overnight purses. You go to Ohio, Indiana is growing, New York is very stable. New Jersey had been one of the top states, had fallen downward a little bit. Now it's zooming up again between, you know, the racing at the Meadowlands. There's a lot of positive things out there, but in the same, it's a lot tougher because of simulcasting, because of the influx of the casinos, that the purses are there, the people coming to the track. I can remember going to the Meadowlands for Hamiltonian Day and going there at 10 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning just to get a decent parking space when the races didn't start till noon or so, and to have 30, 40,000 people. Those days aren't happening anymore. A lot of it has to do because of simulcasting, wagering, and watching on the computers. But for the people that are willing to be in the industry and can do well, the rewards are very, very big.
Well, we have loved having you down under. We hope you can make the trip again. Thanks for bringing some of Cardi's memorabilia, because he is so well respected here, as he was when he made his way to
I want to tell you, you mentioned one thing. One of the pages in my scrapbook is an autographed program cover from Ed Sullivan, his signature.
Yeah. Wow.
written to the owner of Cardigan Hay.
All right. There might be someone out there that should be buying this this whole collection, but if they want to, they can contact me on the box seat. But thanks for taking the time out and having a chat to us.
Pleasure, Greg.
It really has been good to see you, and look forward to catching up again soon.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome back into your box seat. Yes, brought to you by our stable of sponsors. Michael, great to catch up with Steve Wolf. He's been in the game a long time. He's got some great knowledge, and he brought some pretty cool memorabilia with him. You know, Cardigan Bay is still regarded as our greatest export and the $1 million earner that he became, and the first one to do so.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best standardbred ever from this part of the world. And you occasionally have nonsensical conversations with people who try to tell you anything else, but that is rubbish.
Yep.
He's just so far ahead of everything else, it doesn't make any sense to even talk about it. Dexter Dunn's a pretty good export too, and he's revered in the industry over there in the US. Great to see Dexter home recently. So, yeah, really cool to see Steve down here. And I've got to say something about John Curtin and Harness Link. Great job to keep it going for as long as they have. Like, when they first launched the site, the internet for news publication was in its infancy. And I thought, well, I wonder how long this will last. Been going for a bloody long time, Greg.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's important because a lot of people in that part of the world would know nothing about New Zealand harness unless they had that to read. So, yeah, good on them. Well done to John, and good to see Steve getting down here. I say to all journos, all media people, anybody who's on television, get on planes, go places, meet people, learn, because there's only so much you can learn from watching stuff on TV. So Steve's obviously adopted that philosophy, as I'm sure he has many other times in his career as well.
Yep, absolutely. Nice to catch up with him. It was. We keep talking about the Night of Champions. You're going to get a chance over the next 6 weeks. You can't do it this week. Next week, we'll have the details on the screen for you to win a trip for 4, very much like we did for the Grand Prix Day to Cambridge for the Night of Champions. It's on the 12th of April, so we'll run that right throughout the back end of February and right through March, courtesy of Entain and, of course, the Cambridge Club. You and 3 mates to go to the race by Grins and the Tab Trot. It's going to be an enormous occasion, so more details about that next week. We need to get into some of the Brecon lots that are available. We mentioned the NZB sale, of course, the 18th of this month. We'll be at Karaka, won't we, for the sales there. So let's have a look at some lots over the next couple of weeks. Lot number 13, Captain Treacherous out of Almac. This one, a colt, Michael. Looks the same colour as Mum. She won 6 Group 1s. This is a wonderful family, and I think he'll be pretty sought after, this bloke.
Yeah, big, tall type of a boy, as you'd expect. And he's got that Captain Treacherous, a little bit of roundness to the nose. Clearly, Mum was a great horse, and it's been a wonderful family. He's a relatively late foal. He's a November foal, but that doesn't matter in harness racing anymore. What it means is you'll get a bigger version of him by this time next year. Here's lot 15. This is a trotter, obviously, by What the Hill, at a factor the odds. So when you buy this horse here, so you're buying a filly, right? When you buy her, you're getting a half to an open class horse. He's not an open class horse yet. His name's Bet and Win. He is a certainty to end up at open class. So this family will get better over the next 6 months because Bet and Win will be an open class horse by the time this horse goes to the trials in a year's time. As you can see, all trotter by What the Hill, the family of Stress Factor and Prince Fearless, but most importantly, the brother is going to modernise that family very quickly.
This is a colt by Always Be Mickey out of Gladamere. This is a wonderful family, the Shandale family. Oliver Bubbles, who was a recent Menangle winner in 150. It's a deep, deep family that, again, you get a great chance here. Her second dam, Delightful Dales, left 7 foals for 7 winners. So, yeah, when you look at that family, it's going to attract a lot of attention. As will this one, Michael, a Better's Delight out of Good Looking Babe. She a half to Almac, of course, and this is a deep family, all-American lover. Obviously Almac and Miss Streisand, who won 10 races. So there's 4 lots from the Brecon draft that, wow, they've just gone to another level, haven't they?
Well, with both those last 2 horses, you're getting family upgrades coming shortly. So obviously lot 24 is the half to All-American Lover, who by Friday could have won another Group 1, and one would suggest is close enough to the best mare in the country. maybe alongside her stablemate, Artie's Express. And when you go back to lot 22, the Gladimere, well, Oliver Bubbles is now with Jason Grimson. There's some good mares races coming up at Menangle, and she's going to go 150 or sub 150. She'll go under it. She's already been 150 because she keeps winning by 20 metres. So those families are incredibly current. So whatever you buy will be embellished by what happens on the racetrack almost certainly in coming weeks. Bricken's draft's really deep. It's an incredibly deep catalogue, Greg. When you go through it right from the start, it is a boutique catalogue. But there's not many holes in it. There's not many gaps in that catalogue at Karaka. This is Sunday week, where you go, oh, that's where I have lunch. There's 10 things there I don't want to buy. It is strong, 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 strong. And Melbourne on Sunday was strong at the top end, Greg. And that's important because this is a top end catalogue. I think there'll be strong money here. Some of the Aussies are coming for this and they're not going to Christchurch. So it'll be very, very good. And I think we're seeing a maturity of the breeding stock over here. We're seeing people saying, okay, those old mares I thought were doing a job, I'm not as interested, and there's almost no stock by those horses at Karaka. So I'm expecting a very good average. How many we get in that 150 to 200 or 200 plus market, Greg, that will depend on one or two of the big boys and girls, in the case of Gene Feast, and how much they want the same horse.
Yeah, it's going to be a great sale. We'll have some more of the Brecken lots next week. Let's have a look at where you can go racing this week. We've already mentioned Alexandra Park, 5:47 for their 10 races, 9 out of Addington, including the Group 1, 5:39 the start time there. Sunday, Wairio have 12 races just before 1 o'clock there first. And Hororata, let's have a look at the Cup. Here's Homebush Lad winning last week. This was the Waikwaiti meeting at Awamaru, and this remarkable 10-year-old got the job done. He was very, very good. Got you covered, was brave, but one change wide out, making up good ground in the hands of Blair Orange. But yeah, he's just been a terrific horse. He's now won 15 and he'll get another chance in another Country Cup. Actually didn't add up how many Country Cups he's won. He's probably on about 6 now. Ben Hope doing the driving for Greg and Nina. Pretty full show there, Michael. That's not going to change over the next few weeks and months for that matter as we build to the Night of Champions, but all of the good racing around it. It's been great to have you back, mate, and looking forward to Friday night in particular.
One thing I would say to the viewers, get your tickets. Night of Champions, April 12th, Cambridge. Strongest night of harness racing in New Zealand for probably a decade. Get your tickets, get along, go there, enjoy yourselves. We'll take you on the ride between now and then. Yeah,
and you can join that Taylor Street Club still. There's still some shares available and you get a chance to race Just Believe in the Tab Trot. That's been your box seat for this week. Michael won't be back next week. We'll have Matthew Cross. You'll see him in a fortnight, but for now, bye-bye. The Box Seat, brought to you by our stable of sponsors. Harness Link, for all your worldwide harness racing coverage. Brecken Farms, New Zealand Bloodstock Standardbred. IRT, it's your horse and our passion. Garrard's Horse and Hound. Lincoln Farms, Renwick Farms, Harness Racing New Zealand. The clubs, Auckland, Cambridge, Addington and Ashburton, and the TAB.